Okay, we are going to take a look at a system of equations with fractions in it, and we're going to solve by method of substitution. So let's get the problems on here. We have 4/5 x minus 1/5 y is equal to 5. And the other equation that I have is 1/2 x plus 3/5 y equals 14, I believe. Okay, first things first, I like to deal with whole numbers, so I'm going to multiply each of these equations by something that will clear the fractions so that we are just dealing with whole numbers. The first one is pretty simple choice to make. If I multiply this whole equation, I can't just multiply one side or that would change it. So I have to get both sides of the equation. If I multiply them by 5, then these fractions here will cancel out. This will disappear, this will disappear, and this 5 will turn into a 25 when I times 5 times 5. So let's rewrite that. We now have 4x minus 1y, which is just y, is equal to 25. Now I'm going to do something similar here. I need to multiply this second equation by a number that will help clear the fractions. However, I can't just multiply by 5 because although that would clear the fraction coefficient of the y term here, it will not clear a fraction for the x term. It would leave me with 5 halves. So I really need to choose a number to multiply by that all of the denominators will go into. It's a multiple of both of them. And I know that 10 is a multiple of 2 and 5. So I'm going to choose to multiply this whole equation by 10. When I do that, I get 10 times 1/2 x gives me just 5x. 10 times 3/5 y leaves me with 30/5 y. And 10 times 14 is equal to 140. However, we know that 30 divided by 5 is equal to 6. So let's go ahead and change this to a 6. Okay, this looks a little bit better and easier to deal with. I'm going to choose to use the method of substitution. And that's mostly because substitution. That is mostly because I see this variable here, this y, is basically by itself. It will be really easy to solve for y and get it all alone, which is the first step in substitution. So let's go ahead and do that and solve for y, and then we can plug in. So to do that, I'm going to get rid of the 4x on both sides by subtracting it. And I have negative y is equal to negative 4x plus 25. And then the last step that I need to do to both sides is divide by a negative 1 to find out that y is equal to positive 4x minus 25. Now I can take this piece here and plug it in for y, because I know now that y is the same as 4x minus 25. So in the other equation, I can go ahead and replace y with this piece here. Let's do that. Now we get that, when we rewrite, we get that 5x plus 6, then instead of y, I'm putting 4x minus 25. Equals 140. From here, I have one equation with one variable. That's great. We've done this a lot now. We know how to solve equations with only one variable in them. Let's distribute this 6 to both places, so we get that 5x plus 24x minus 6 times 25 is 150. and that equals 140. Now I can combine my like terms, and I get that 29x minus 150 is equal to 140. If I add 150 to both sides, I get that 29x equals 290, which is pretty convenient because that leaves us with a whole number answer for x. X is equal to 10. Okay, so we find that x is equal to 10. Now the question is, what do we do with this 10 to get an answer for y? Well, we know that y is equal to 4x minus 25. We have this here. Y is already solved for. So once we replace x here with 10, then we'll be able to get a number answer for y. So let's do that. Our last step is always to plug in, so we'll take this 10 for x and plug it in here. Now I could have chosen any of these equations, the first original ones that had fractions, the second phase where we cleared the fractions, or this one here where y is already solved for. Any of them would work to plug x back in for. I'm just choosing this one because I think it will be the fastest. Okay, let's go ahead and rewrite this now. So we have y is equal to 4, and then we're putting in 10 for x, because we know now it's not a secret anymore what x is, minus 25, and I get that y is equal to 40 minus 25, and we know that that is equal to 15. So, x equals 10 is my first answer, and y is equal to 15 is my second answer. Now that looks pretty good. If we wanted to write that as a coordinate point, we know x comes first, so I would put my 10 first. Y comes second, so I put the 15 next. And I could write my answer like this as well. Okay, I hope this is helpful.